American Airlines Flight 587 was a regularly scheduled international passenger flight from John F. Kennedy International Airport to Las Américas International Airport in Santo Domingo, the capital of the Dominican Republic, on November 12, 2001. The Airbus A300-605R flying the route crashed into the neighborhood of Bell Harbor on the Rockaway Peninsula of Queens, New York City shortly after takeoff. All 260 people aboard the plane to 51 passengers and 9 crew members were killed, as well as 5 people on the ground. It is the second deadliest aviation accident in U.S. history, behind the crash of American Airlines Flight 191 in 1979, and the second deadliest aviation incident involving an Airbus A300, after Iran Air Flight 655. The location of the accident, and the fact that it took place 2 months and 1 day after the September 11 attacks on the World Trade Center in nearby Manhattan, initially spawned fears of another terrorist attack. But the National Transportation Safety Board attributed the disaster to the first officer's overuse of rudder controls in response to wake turbulence from a preceding Japan Airlines Boeing 747-400 that took off minutes before it. According to the NTSB, the aggressive use of the rudder controls by the first officer stressed the vertical stabilizer until it separated from the aircraft. The airliner's 2 engines also separated from the aircraft before impact due to the intense forces. The accident aircraft, registration November 1, 4053, was an Airbus A300B4, 605 Revolutions delivered new to American Airlines on July 12, 1988. The aircraft's first flight was on December 9, 1987, and it was the first R model A300-600 built. On the day of the accident, it was in a 2-class seating configuration with space for 251 passengers, and all seats were filled, 16 business class seats and 235 economy class seats. On board were 9 flight crew members, including 42-year-old Captain Edward States, who was the pilot, monitoring and undertaking radio communications, and 34-year-old First Officer Stan Mullen, who was the pilot flying. The aircraft taxied to runway 31 liters, behind a Japan Airlines Boeing 747-400, preparing for takeoff. The JAL flight was cleared for takeoff at 9 hours 11 minutes and 8 seconds a.m. At 9:11:36, the tower controller cautioned Flight 587 about potential wake turbulence from a preceding B747. At 9 hours 13 minutes and 28 seconds, the A300 was cleared for takeoff and left the runway at 9 hours 14 minutes and 29 seconds, about 1 minute and 40 seconds after the JAL flight had departed. The aircraft climbed to an altitude of 500 feet and then entered a climbing left turn to a heading of 220. At 9:15, the captain made initial contact with the departure controller, informing him that the airplane was at 1,300 feet and climbing to 5,000 feet. The controller instructed the aircraft to climb to and maintain 13,000 feet. The flight data recorder FEDR showed that the events leading to the crash began when the aircraft hit wake turbulence from the JAL flight in front of it at 9 hours 15 minutes and 36 seconds. In response to the turbulence, Mullen moved the rudder from the right to the left, and from 9 hours 15 minutes and 52 seconds, causing sideslip until the lateral force caused composite lugs that attached the vertical stabilizer to fail at 9 hours 15 minutes and 58 seconds. The stabilizer separated from the aircraft and fell into Jamaica Bay, about 1 mile north of the main wreckage site. The aircraft pitched downward after the stabilizer loss. As the pilot struggled to control the aircraft, it entered a flat spin. The resulting aerodynamic loads sheared both engines from the aircraft, and they fell several blocks north and east of the main wreckage site, causing minor damage to a gas station and major damage to a home and a boat. The loss of engines cut power to the FEDR at 9 hours 16 minutes and 1 second, while the cockpit voice recorder, CVR, using an emergency bus, stopped at 9 hours 16 minutes and 14 seconds upon impact with the ground. At 9 hours 16 minutes and 4 seconds, the stall warning sounded on the CVR. The last recorded words were those of Mullen saying, "What the hell are we into? We're stuck in it." 9/16/07. And States, replying, "Get out of it, get out of it." The aircraft slammed into the ground at Newport Avenue and Beach 131st Street.